Make some noise if you love women's basketball, please. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
Hey, listen, my name's Arden Franklyn. You may have seen me, content creator, brand manager. I've been at BALLTLKS. I've done stuff for Billboard, FanDuel, Slam. Proud New Yorker by way of Westchester County. We are not upstate, in case you have that joke. Don't do that. But hey, listen, before we get into tonight's festivities, first things first, we gotta give a huge shout out to Dumbo House and IMG for the hospitality. Seriously, man, love is love to them. Greatly appreciated. Gotta give another shout out. Shout out to Gina and Kate. It's been a lot of fun working with y'all as well over the last couple of days. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the House of Aces for putting this all together as well. Syd TP. And for tonight, it is an honor to have these two special guests here with me. There's a lot of ways to describe these two special guests, and there's a few that I've come up with. So first things first, let's get to it. We talking about some champions, okay? We talking about folks who've won at the highest level, WNBA championships, Las Vegas Aces, currently back-to-back champs. We talking about a natty, okay? We're talking about different individual accolades such as McDonald's All-American selectees, all-conference play. They've done a lot of great things. They've entertained hundreds of thousands of people across social media, as well as helping this current movement that we're seeing from the women's basketball game into social media and content. They're the type of teammates that people love to play with, from the game's greatest stars to the youngest up next. They've been big-time players, they've been key contributors, and most importantly, they are faces of the league. Stars of the Syd TP show. Ladies and gentlemen, clap it up for Syd, Colson, and Theresa Plaisance. What's up, y'all? What's up?
Hey, can you introduce me everywhere I go?
Oh, we can work on that.
Yeah, that was long. That was
That's the longest. It's typically like TP 6'5".
right. That was great.
But hey, listen, first things first, personally for me, I want to give y'all a huge thank you. You know, again, this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for y'all coming out here to New York. We spent a lot of quality time together over the last couple of days. And I want to just start that off, right? We've had the chance to spend a lot of time with Syd and TP over the last couple of days, literally taking over the Big Apple, doing a lot of great things.
Sure.
So Syd, to start this off, how would you describe your latest experience in the Big Apple?
Yeah, I mean, we were thrilled to come here. Of course, we're going to show up. We love when people pay for us to be there, so
That's how we do that.
it's easy to say yeah, but honestly, we looked at, y'all had done a video with Jackie before at All-Star. So when Gina sent us like y'all's content, showed us Dria, and just saw the work that y'all did, we thought it was an amazing honor, and so we were thrilled to come here. And as you know, we haven't been in a position like this in our pro careers. Nothing ever for basketball, and really, it still isn't necessary for basketball, but you know, it's nice to be like looked at and congratulated for what you're doing, so we appreciate y'all.
TP, what about you?
You know, New York was where we're convinced as a player, being from New Orleans, like everything's so fast paced.
Absolutely.
There's like random liquids that hit you in the forehead walking down the street. But being able to explore the city in the off season and being able to really enjoy and embrace everything that is New York has been absolutely incredible. And just to be a part of this and being a part of a special event like this and everything that it took to make this happen has been, you know, something that we're not used to. And it's been really a pleasure to be able to spend time with you guys and the crew, and it's been a really great start.
Mo, thanks for showing up.
Yeah,
Mo didn't show up earlier.
Mo, you missed out on our family affair at Slam earlier, man.
Good to have you.
After.
Yes. But hey, listen, you know, obviously there's a lot to talk about tonight with y'all. Definitely want to take us, the audience, you included, y'all, just down a journey of talking about your life and career within basketball, especially with an emphasis on life, right? Again, congratulations on the first season of the Syd and TP show. Clap it up for them. Out right now. You can go check it out. TP, to start this off with you, how do you feel seeing the public's reaction to the show? Like, people are loving it, clips are going viral, people got their favorite scenes that they love from the show. How do you feel about the reaction from the public?
It's been so humbling. Not everybody, I think one of the most humbling comments has been like, who is TP? No, I've just been that white kid at the end of the bench that like got in if necessary, and if not, then so what? But I've never really been highlighted before since college, which has been a full decade.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really nice, and it's also really nice to see that our humor resonates with people. To find what they find funny isn't necessarily what Syd and I thought were gonna necessarily hit. What we found like to be hysterical, some people might necessarily find the same things funny. It's really interesting to find what comments and what people find funny within our humor. So it's been really, really humbling and honestly overwhelming, just the positive impact that people have been reaching out to us with and what we've been able to do through our show. So it's been really, really great.
Syd, how you been feeling about the reaction?
Yeah, it's been great. I think TP is much more like humble about it. And I'm humble about it, but I think like.
Go ahead. Speak your truth.
All right, so for those of y'all that have seen the show, or for those of y'all who haven't seen our show, the log line is that it's 2 WNBA bench warmers striving to become the face of the league despite the fact that nobody asked them to. And so everywhere we go, when we tell people that log line, like they laugh, whether they know us or not, whether they know women's basketball or not. It's just a funny premise. If you know sports, like why would anybody care to see bench warmers take over the league or be the face? So for me, when they pitched that as the log line for the show, we were immediately bought in because we just found it hilarious. Like we laughed like y'all just did. But I think I always knew that there was gonna be a turn. Like once people saw the show and were put on to me and TP, because I noticed something immediately, like when we met, that I was like, there's a very distinct chemistry between us, non-romantic, despite what you see in the show from TP constantly pursuing me. But like, I knew, I was like, oh, like some people are gonna actually find this relatable, like she said, resonate with it, and start to watch the WNBA because they see our show and enjoy the comedy. And the amount of comments that say that, you know, I think was kind of like shocking.
Yeah.
But this is something that for me, I knew if the W pushed more to show other people in the league and the things that they aspire to do outside of basketball instead of like the same faces, you would have more of this feedback. Like me and TP aren't the only funny people in the league. We're not the only people in the league with duality that have other talents. It's just that we took a chance on ourselves and then somebody else took a chance on us. And so I think if more people were able to be showcased in the league, they would have a similar reaction in the things that they do, whether they're like on social media or not. Like people would see, oh, like you can do many things and wear many hats.
Mm-hmm. Was there a specific moment where y'all realized like, oh yeah, we're locked in? Like we're friends, we're about to go on this journey and do many things together on the court, off the court?
Yeah, our first road trip to Phoenix, it was like the very first road trip of the season. And we got off the bus and we were going to our rooms and we were just gonna like go to like Urban Outfitters or something.
Yeah, grab some lunch.
And then grab some food. But we were in my room and we talked in there for like, no bullshit, like 4 hours straight, just about like, because we knew each other in the league, but through other people, and we had just always heard like, oh, there's another, like she's the other goofy girl in the league, and it was like, okay, well, who is that bitch? Is she funnier than me?
Short one?
Like, is she funnier than me? What is she? Like, so, you know, we wanted to like, we finally got to dive into like our stories and our trajectories in the league, and sticking around the league so long when we really never have been high-minute players. And yeah, just our family backgrounds, being gay.
Which is also, you see why it's questionable. You see why it's questionable. If you watch the show, you can understand now.
Yeah.
That first day, we really did hit it off. Like, I showed up late to training camp. Syd was dying the entire time. Put in all 2.5 weeks of training camp. I show up on the last day like, what have these kids been doing the whole time?
Slacker.
Yeah. But I made the team, despite the fact that I didn't even try out. And
white privilege.
Somebody had to say it.
I have to tap into it. I do have privilege, and I can say thank you, Syd.
Yes, it is.
I try to bring up others around me.
Yes, you do.
But really, like, we just have so many similarities, and we were in a bubble together. We were both in the WNBA bubble, never once crossed paths. I was sick of seeing every WNBA ref shirtless by the pool. We didn't need that. Coach Mike Tebow could have kept his shirt on, also by the pool. Didn't need that, but never ran into Syd.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, almost that we were essentially the same person, just in two different walks of life from two different places. The way that we were raised, our family, our morals and our values just growing up were very much in alignment, and we very much so have always been in a position of like never feeling complacent where we were within our job. It's never been easy for us. It's never been like a shoe-in, despite the fact that I did make the team without trying out. It's never been a shoe-in, and we've also like been able to relate on the fact that like you show up every day as veterans of the league and have to prove yourself, even past training camp. Every single day they can cut you and send you home if you don't keep your value. So we found a way, also despite the fact that we don't play high minutes.
Yeah.
And there's just something that Syd and I have, humbly I say this, but there's been a lot of talent that we've seen come through the league and that didn't have that it factor. And it takes a level of professionalism, it takes a level of selflessness, it takes a level of different variants to be able to do what we have done and still be around the league despite the fact that we really don't play high minutes.
That's true.
So,
hey, y'all are what are considered to be the glue players. You know, there's a reason. There's a reason why every organization on any level always makes sure that there are spots for players like you, because they know, yes, there's that capability of being in the game, playing, executing the system, but also the fact that like high character people that get it, you know? Matter of fact, hey, real quick, man, clap it up for that, man. Clap it up for character. Staying ready. Before we get back into the basketball side, because side note, that was a lovely, nerdy basketball convo we had yesterday at, at 24 New York, even though I was venting as a New York Liberty fan. But I do want to talk about the fact that, you know, with the show, right, the show has been playing a key part in what we've seen in this new era of women's athletes embracing more of content creation and being on social. So TP, to start this off, what do you think has been fueling this latest run to where not only is it more women athletes, especially from basketball, on social media, but players are doing a great job managing their socials. They're making more content. They're understanding the branding side of things. They're now doing shows and podcasts. What do you think has fueled that run?
So quote the great LeBron James, we don't need to just shut up and dribble. Like, there's so much more to who an athlete is. We all, especially as women, have prided ourselves on getting ourselves an education. We don't, jump out of college and jump straight into millions of dollars. I know it sounds like super glamorous. We don't know that lifestyle. We know that once we retire from basketball, there's gonna be something that comes after it. And so being able to express yourself in something other than what happens on the hardwood is very important. And to be able to use your education, use your brain, use your marketing skills, use just anything, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to retire and jump into a second career. We're not gonna be able to retire, maybe join TNT, shoot the shit with our friends at halftime of the NBA games. Like, it doesn't work out like that for WNBA players. A lot of us, most of us, 99.9% of us, will have a second career. And it starts with who you are as a person, and I think that, just a small piece of the WNBA is what happens on the hardwood. People care about what you're eating, people care about what you're saying, people care about what you're wearing. And I think being able to tap into that and use your brand, because your body is your business, on the court and off the court. If you break your leg, your business is out of commission. Well, you need to use your business for what you can use it for outside of basketball, and that is, tapping into those type of things as well. And I think that women have done a really great job of being able to use their brain and their education to be able to acknowledge the fact that, hey, we're not jumping into millions of dollars, so there's something that we need to do to push our brand forward, to be our own individual selves, and to, stand out from the rest of the crowd. And I think that the W's done a really good job of that.
Syd, what about you?
The evolution of social media has just shown a lot of players like, okay, I can take advantage of the fact that I can get a social media account for free. I can brand myself for free. It's not something that I now have to wait for somebody to come find me. You can be even smaller than W players. I mean, you've seen people do it, like, even back when YouTube was bigger and videos would go viral. Like, you can put yourself out there and be like plucked from obscurity by a brand, by somebody bigger, and now your life has changed because somebody noticed you. But I think like athletes started realizing, like, all right, if the league isn't highlighting me, I can highlight myself. Because if the person with my team isn't interested in my story, I'll let people know my story. I'll let the viewers decide whether or not what I'm saying speaks to them, And if they want to follow me, if they want to support me monetarily, whatever they want to do, I now have control of that. And like she was saying, like women athletes, we just have to have a different mindset, really like in college. So like when we have events where boosters are gonna be there, where fans are there, we're much more engaging with our fans and our crowds than male players are. And a part of it, once you get to the pros, I understand because so many people want access to them, but in college, we're going around to the boosters, we're shaking hands, we're networking because we know what's coming next is probably not the pros. So I'm trying to meet this person from my university and look them in the eyes, have a conversation, and represent myself a certain way so that when I'm done with school, like I can come back to this person and they remember that they had a conversation with me, that they respected me, that I carried myself a certain way. And so I think everything about our evolution is just different. And so by the time you get to the pros, you gotta be a more well-rounded person, and you do have to find something else outside of basketball to pursue.
And would that be essentially also your biggest lesson learned during the social media era, just how much you have to fully embrace being a people's person and making that connection? Could that also be your biggest lesson learned?
Yeah, I think that it is a big one. I think you gotta realize that people are paying attention to what you do. A lot of athletes sometimes, like, you know, you do things and you say like, well, I'm not a role model, like I'm not here, I don't care about what people are seeing. And it's like, okay, like it might not be what you want, but it is part of it. Like you do have people watching you, like yeah, parents should like be monitoring what kids are looking at and things like that, but you do have to be, it's only fair to be cognizant of the fact that you are impacting younger people. People are looking at what you're doing, and so, you know, you want to carry yourself a certain way.
TP, would you also agree that's your biggest lesson learned, or what has been your biggest lesson learned during your time, not only being on social media, but again, doing the networking and being a people's person?
I think the biggest lesson learned is you have to be your own biggest fan. Because like Syd said earlier, like you don't have, being the two bench warmers trying to become the face of the league despite the fact that nobody asked us to, is quite literally what you have to do. So you just have to find out what that is. And the way you display yourself, like the way that we are in the WNBA, we have a very niche market. The people that love us to death. When I was playing for the Tulsa Shock, rest in peace.
It's real.
I have a bunch of throwback shirts, so I'm willing to put them on sale.
Go crazy in the secondary.
We had people willing to give up a kidney for us. And we were like, listen, the team's moving regardless, you can keep your kidney. We can sell it on the black market. No, please, sir, don't do that. The team is moving regardless. But the WNBA market loves, they support whether you're losing every single game or you're winning every single, they're not there for the wins and losses, they're there for the people. So I want to equally give myself to the people that are given to me, because it's a thankless job to be a WNBA fan. It's not like cool to be like, yeah, tonight I'm going to watch the Fever play the Mercury. I'm going to bring my homeboys to the game.
Yeah, you can be ridiculed in certain spaces.
Finding that is a gut check. Like, we think the world of ourselves. I think the world of my peers. I think that playing with Asia and Chelsea and Jackie and Kelsey, like, you have Olympians on your team and you're like looking at greatness every single day. And some people look at these same people and look at the same way they look at me and think that should belong in the kitchen, which you don't want me in your kitchen. Trust me, you don't at all, unless you want some cereal. I can whip that up real quick. But just being able to find that within individuals is a learning curve, and it also makes you a better person to understand where somebody else is coming from, what they've been through, what their walk of life is, and for them to be able to relate with you in the same way that you want to relate with them.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. And I want to shift the conversation to some good old basketball talk. And Syd, I want to start with you because your career has been very unique in terms of, for the average basketball fan right here, right now, right? We know you as that key role player that knows how to play in minutes. We see a lot on the bench cheering on, a lot of personality. But what some of you here may not know is like, Syd throughout her career, when needed to, has been a bucket getter, has won on many levels in her career, and you know what it means to wear different hats. So for you, when you think back to your career, right, up until present day, to even to when you first started playing the game, what has been your biggest lesson learned throughout?
I don't know, I think like probably my upbringing and then just my faith the older that I've gotten. has led me to understand that, like, I believe people are cogs in a machine no matter what we do. Like, people are probably in different fields in here, and on a team, you need everybody to play their role. And I've been a starter on a team and like a star player. I've been somebody who sits on the bench, somebody who doesn't play any minutes. Like, I played pretty much every role. Like a veteran that needs to help the younger player. Whatever it is, I never found like myself to be too prideful to play a different role, because I understand that there are some roles that are more glamorous, that get more attention. There are some that you just gotta put your head down and grind, and everybody has to do their part though. Like, if one person is lacking on a team, we could have been the bench warmers on the team who were very cancerous, and we could have made the dynamic just be like bad. And people in here, you probably have jobs. Hopefully you're not that person at your job, but you can fuck up a team, whether that team is like your family, a relationship, an actual sports team. Like, you can completely mess up the dynamic by not understanding the role you play and accepting it. And it's not to say that, like, I know I can play basketball. Like, I have no problem with people not thinking that I can play basketball though, because I'm not tripping on whether or not you think I'm good or not. Like, people were on my head that in the finals, they're like, but you had 2 points, why are you talking so much? Because I can, because we won, because she has shit to say and I got something to say back. Like, I think a lot of people get it twisted that because you don't see somebody doing it, you don't think that they're able to do it. But for us, it's like we accept and play the roles that we need to for a team to thrive. Because if I'm that bench player, but I believe I should be starting, so I come into practice, I got an attitude, I'm going hard at the girl who's starting, I'm damn near about to like hurt her, all to show what? That I want her minutes. That's the quickest way to be up out of the league, to like be blackballed. For me, it's like, understand that you're a cog in a machine, accept your role, still try to show that you can do more, and then leave it to your boss, to your coach, to whoever, to upgrade your role. If they don't, you can either accept that, which I do for job security, or you can choose to be an entrepreneur, or you can go work another job. But for me, like, I love basketball still, I love a team environment, so that was a long-winded way of me saying, like,
it was much needed.
I just have known in every space that I'm in, whether I'm the starter or the person who doesn't get a lot of attention, God created me a certain way, and like, He's gonna put me where I need to be, and the people who need to see me are gonna see me.
No, absolutely, I agree with that. Yes, absolutely, please do so. Please do so. And I wanna follow up and Syd, have you kick this off, and TP, pass it to you as well. Obviously, at this point in your career, you have easily accepted it, and it's worked. But let's take it back 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it easy or hard to accept the fact that, like, hey, I'm coming off of being at, in college where I won a natty, I was the number one option, and now I'm looking at my pro prospects and it's like, damn, like, I have to be something else that I'm not used to. Was it easy to accept, hard to accept? Like, what was that like?
I played my first season in New York, so I was drafted to Connecticut, and then I was immediately traded to New York, so I played my first season with the New York Liberty. The next season, I was cut, and then I spent a couple seasons out of the league. So for me, I quickly saw, it don't matter what you did in college, you can be out of the league in a hurry. And I think the lifespan of a lot of female, like in the WNBA, is like 3 years, or maybe not even, like 2.5 or something.
I'd say it's feeling like it's shorter and shorter these days.
Yeah, so like, I surpassed it like at a certain point in my young career, so I was just like, all right, this might be what it is. I'm gonna keep working and pushing to get back to the league. If it happens, cool. If it doesn't, it's time for me to move on to coaching or acting, whatever I wanna do next. But it wasn't that it was easy, it's just I'm a realist. And I'm like, once I get a sense of what a situation is, I quickly adjust my emotions, and I still work to change it. But if it doesn't change, I just change my attitude about it. And then I still whatever, I took acting classes on the side, or I was paying attention to what the coaches were doing because I wanted to coach collegiately after. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna constantly be doing something to prepare myself for what's next in case this is over. But it was medium. It wasn't easy, It wasn't hard, but it was in the middle.
TP for you, right? Because you was an all-conference player at LSU. So you know all about having success at the college level. So for you, when you went to the Was it easy or hard to accept that, okay, your path in the pros was going to be completely different than what you experienced in college?
I got humbled real quick. So I was supposed to be the first pick of the second round. And I got a phone call right before that pick, and they were like, listen, they're going some overseas kid. They're going to draft her rights and then bring her over the next year, so you're not going that round. And I was like, all right, I'll probably go second pick then. But I was like the third to last pick of the whole draft, and when you say, oh, it was a third round pick, there's only 3 rounds.
Yeah.
It's not the NFL.
Right.
Where it's the next day of rounds.
I was almost Mrs. Irrelevant, but I also, when I got drafted, my name was never said. My uncle was like, oh, I think Theresa got drafted. We like turned around. It was on the ticker at the bottom. But I missed it, so we had to wait for all the draft picks to go back around. I was like, oh, wow, look at that. I'm going to Shock. So I went to training camp, and I played for Coach Fred Williams. And Coach Fred gave me a chance. As long as you keep your value, there's a spot for you on this team.
Facts.
And I was the first one in the gym, and I was the last one to leave, even if that meant rebounding for people before or after the fact, even if that meant helping people out in the training room, grabbing ice for people, whatever that looked like. I was trying to keep my value up because I wanted it so bad. And Coach Fred gave me that opportunity. As a third rounder, I never unpacked my bags, guys. I never unpacked my bags for the first 5 years of my career until I got my first guaranteed contract. It just never felt safe. Even when I got my first, I was like, this is kind of weird. I don't know if I should. But it was a quick mental shift for you, because you realize that once you get drafted, everybody was the best at their college level. Everybody was their go-to player. Everybody was either their leading scorer, the leading whatever it was. So for you to be able to go into that mindset that everybody else has isn't what it takes at that point, because you got to understand your role. And doing so, that means maybe you got to be the loudest cheerleader on the bench, do the ugly jobs that nobody else wants to do. Whatever that value is, I tried to keep it. And it also helped me keep a job. I didn't get cut for the first 10 years of my career until this year. I fractured my eye socket, and then on my birthday, which was also my off day, they called me in, and they're like, hey, my eye is sealed shut on my birthday. They're like, oh, well, yeah, we're gonna have to, oh, wow. Yeah, we're cutting you. And I was like, are you serious? On my off day? Not happy birthday? Like, are you okay? Nothing. So after that, it was just, okay, it was the first time that something happened to me, so I had to embrace that. I had to make a whole TV show that we had to pivot on, because of the whole concept of the show prior to this was that I was gonna go play in Seattle and City was gonna play in Vegas. And you know, that's kind of what the WNBA is, kind of like roll with the punches. Mine was an elbow, but you gotta roll with whatever you got at that point. So it's a learning curve, and it's really a humbling experience, and it teaches you a lot about yourself, and it also, you know, lingers to post basketball. Things don't always go your way, and that's okay. But it's like how you respond to that, and that's kind of like how I tried to pride myself. That's how my parents raised me to be. Like, nothing was ever easy for us. We were just regular people, and like we just tried to do things the right way, and I just tried to always carry myself the right way and do things the right way and treat people the right way.
TP, to stick with you here, right? Well, first of all, as well, I want to give a huge congratulations. You made a great history yesterday. You were possibly the first person to create a TikTok account at the TikTok offices.
Thank you.
We celebrated that a lot.
Thank you.
Seriously, we captured that. That's on video.
Day 2 on TikTok, guys.
That was a big deal there. We saw that. But TP, another thing that you guys said yesterday, right? You was proud to rep your hometown of New Orleans.
New Orleans, baby.
You was proud of that. For you, coming from New Orleans, what makes a New Orleans hooper unique?
What makes a New Orleans super unique, despite the fact that we understand good food through and through, I think that the New Orleans basketball market like isn't necessarily like a huge girls basketball place. We have a lot of sport, we have a lot of football. Like, we eat, sleep, breathe football in Louisiana. So like when there's a girls basketball player, it's not like you're getting highlighted. There was recently like a top 25 like most prolific athletes of New Orleans, And I think I was like towards the bottom of the list, and it was all males, and then Simone Augustus, and then me. And it is good company. Like
Very good
me and Simone were holding it down for the girls. But it wasn't like a place where it was like, oh, wow, you're a hooper. People didn't really care. And I didn't really know how important it was until I started playing travel basketball. But I love my city, and I think the girls' game is growing. And the girls are growing. I'm like, golly, how old are you?
Right.
You're 15, and you're like 6'9". But we eat good down there, like I said. But it's a really special place. New Orleans is very whimsical. It doesn't seem like a real place. Everybody's super friendly. Everybody's like looking to gather. And it's a very community-based city. And I think that's one thing that I've kind of adapted to being a teammate. Like nobody plays basketball to be an individual. Like you can do like tennis, you can play like golf if you're gonna do that. But like the team camaraderie, the community behind it, I think the biggest piece about basketball is the relationship building. I got to meet Sydney through a game of basketball, and she's one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. So it's like such
That's
a
right. It's true.
What, the point about like meeting cool people?
Yep.
Are you specifically?
Yes.
Sydney, right? But it really helps you carry on like who you are, and like the city that you're from really, for me at least, reflects in like who I am as a basketball player and who I am as a teammate. So I feel very blessed to be from New Orleans and to be able to be from a place that is so like loving and endearing, and where like diversity is cool, being uniquely yourself is cool, and like just like if you're weird, great. If you're like a square, also great. Get some personality though. But it really is special to be from such a cool place like New Orleans.
If y'all had to, right, in a dream matchup where you're coaching TP, the best hoopers ever from New Orleans, and Syd, you're coaching the best players from H-Town, both of y'all coaching against each other, who's getting that dubski? Who's getting that dub?
Me, I can't even think of that many people from Louisiana besides you and Simone. I don't know what's...
And my brother.
Okay, but you were talking about women?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Scotty can sit this one
he
out.
can make that choice.
But yeah, I think true, it is a new day. You're right. It is.
I'll ask him later.
I think Houston would take that.
Yeah, I think Houston would. Outside of me, I used to play with this girl. She's from Baton Rouge. I can't even.
Yeah, she's from Baton Rouge. So she has one person on her team. So I just think for that reason, we might.
No, I played with this girl named Leanne McCarthy. Shout out to
Anybody know
Leanne. You're
Leanne
not here,
McCarthy
Leanne,
here?
but I
Raise
love
your
you,
hand.
girl.
Raise your hand if you know Leanne.
Anybody heard of Leanne McCarthy? I think there was one hand in the back. There was one hand in the back.
So what?
She played at Nicholls State University for my mother. We went to the same high school. Leanne is a hooper. A hooper.
Why are you advocating for Leanne?
What?
Why are you advocating for her? She's moved on to her.
Yeah, she's doing really well. She does real estate now. She forgot about basketball completely. But Leanne can ball.
Okay, so it's you and
So
Leanne.
it's me and
You
Leanne,
got
and we're
two people.
both, we play the same position.
So she's got two people. Once again, I think we win.
Yeah, Houston's winning that. Is it rare, Syd, to start this with you, is it rare to have the type of bond that you have with TP across professional sports?
I think a lot of people like open themselves up to like finding like genuine friendship on a team. I think some people do consider it just like work. Like I go there, like I'll be cool with my teammates, but like I'm not really looking to be like best friends with y'all or like hang out outside the court. Like I'll do some team building stuff, but that's not really my vibe. Like I got a family, whatever. Like it can just be different for people. But the time we spent on the bench, really being able to chop it up, the time off the court in practice, like I think a lot of people do. You find community in something like the WNBA. For a lot of people, honestly, like they probably come out during that time because it's like either college or there where you felt the most safe with being out. And so you're around people who you can talk about your journey with or talk about like what you went through, what your life looked like. But I think across sports in general, I think a lot of people are open to having relations with your teammates because you understand the impact that it can have when y'all are on the court, field, whatever, together.
TP, what about you?
I would have to agree with Syd. I think that like you have some teammates, and this is gonna sound super harsh, but that are like seasonal. Like you're cool with hanging out with them in season,
it's like a work friend, like y'all for people with regular stuff. This is my work friend,
But yeah, you're not gonna like keep up in the off season, like go visit each other, spend hours on FaceTime. But there's also this thing which doesn't happen in the NBA called overseas basketball, and it is a struggle. I know we all can relate to this one thing called quarantining. So imagine being in a foreign country where no one speaks your language and you essentially quarantine, and then you go to practice, and then you go back to your apartment and then quarantine. So we mastered quarantining before it was cool. And when you like are in those spaces, you really get to know who your teammate is. Like it could be some random kid. I'm 30 years old. I played 2 years ago with a 22-year-old that played at Duke. Knew nothing about her, never once heard of her before. She was a really cool kid, but I got to know her really well. And we spent a lot of time together just because we were the only two people there that spoke English. So sometimes you just like meet up with people, you hang out with people, and you get to know people because like when you're bored, there's nothing like hearing the English language when you're not bilingual at all. But in the W, like I do feel like you find people that you're very much so alike, and also like in the communities that we're in, like the lesbian community, like there's a lot of people that are closeted for a very long time. And we give people like the 3-year rule. If you're straight coming into the league, if you're still straight after 3 years, then you're most likely straight. You could probably,
good on you.
If not, you'll probably tap into like letter B or letter L for the LGBTQ plus AI plus community.
One of the alphabets.
You tap into a letter. You just gotta pick which one.
Yo, AI plus is crazy. Don't do that.
Crazy.
Don't do that's crazy. Hey, yo. AI plus though? All right, well, I don't know. Hey, we got 2 more questions before we go, right? To get back to the Syd and TP show, what was your biggest lesson learned from making the first season, TP?
This is actually really funny. I did not want to do it at all. I'll let Syd explain how that process happened, but I'm like kind of shy. Syd and I have very similar humor. She's just like unfiltered. So it took a little bit for me to get out of my shell, and also hanging out with Syd and the Aces and seeing someone that I felt like I was, but like was brave enough to like do the crazy stuff that I was like feeling. I was like, she's not getting picked on too much. I can do a little bit more now. So being able to do the TV show, I learned a lot. I've never been in front of a camera before. I've never been filmed. I take that back. In 2nd grade, humbly, I was Mary in the nativity play, which is obviously a really big role. I was the mother of Jesus.
Word.
And they didn't give it to just anybody. So outside of Mary, humbly, this was my first acting job, and it was actually a lot of fun. I did not want to do it. I was very nervous, and I was very shy in front of the camera. And then as the season went on, I loved it. It was one of the best times of my entire life. And I think a lot of it had to do with like the people that we were surrounded by. And on top of that, just like being able to be yourself and for people to like accept you in that space. It's also really hard to be yourself and have a camera follow you because like you're taking in critiques from like the outside. You don't know what people are gonna say about you or feel about you or think about you, especially when people have no idea. If somebody was like, does TP even talk? In my locker room, I have a word count. So it was really different for me, but it was honestly like the best experience of my life. And I can't wait to take what I've learned from season 1 and apply it to the future.
Absolutely. Syd, what about you?
It's a good question. I guess just like everything that goes into making a show. I had never been on a set before. Like I started taking acting classes a few years ago, but it was during the pandemic, like in 2020. And like we were wearing masks in class and like social distancing, obviously. And I had never been on a set because I was still go play in the W or like just being away. So I wasn't able to fully pursue acting like consistently. So once I was finally on a set and it was like for our show, it was just mind-boggling to see what all went into it, how many people were involved, like finally seeing like what they're talking about when you gotta hit your mark, or doing like real things that I was learning in class, but actually seeing it like applied. So yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned was just like it's difficult work. And there's a lot that goes into it, but it was probably like unrealistic for the first thing to be our show because we had a ton of freedom. So if I ever want to do something afterwards, it's gonna be like, oh shit, like I really gotta be on my stuff because this does not have my name on it. But yeah, like it was a learning experience, but it was really cool.
Last question I got for y'all. When you look at everything happening in women's basketball, high school and college girls going crazy, W playing in front of sold out crowds, numbers going through the roof, content creation, exclusive content, much more. With one word, how would you describe the future of women's basketball?
That's for me or?
That's for you, Syd.
Syd's not good with only one word. She needs a ton of words. Yes, she needs a paragraph minimum. I'm gonna say bright. I think that the future of like
He
girls.
said one word and then you said I had a lot
I
of
said
words.
my one word.
Okay.
He never said you couldn't have a follow-up reason. Okay, bright.
Can she have a vote?
Bright's good enough, TP.
All right, bright. Take what you want from that.
Right.
Right?
Syd, what about you? Whether it's one word or one sentence?
She gets a sentence now.
Hey, just in case. Just gotta be a little flexible. I am the host, you know?
That's fair.
Promising?
Yeah.
Which word was better?
By show of hands,
Raise your
bright.
hand for bright.
Yeah, there's a lot of hands. There's a lot of hands.
Promising? Let's fucking
Y'all, they're
Some people
synonymous.
didn't vote.
Yeah, math people didn't vote. But it was.
And that's y'all's problem. That's how we ended up where we were. Y'all need to vote.
Ooh. Syd.
Syd. But hey, listen, in all seriousness, Syd and TP, thank you for your time. Thank you for your great energy. Seriously, in my honest opinion, I know a lot of people feel the same way. Y'all are really big time contributors to helping women's basketball move forward in every way possible. I know I've enjoyed the last 2 days with y'all. And seriously, we all respect you. We all love y'all. And hey, that's Ball Talk, man. Coming live from Dumbbell House, Syd and TP.
Thank you guys.
Thank y'all for showing up. We were not expecting this many people. Appreciate y'all. We can come around and talk to everybody.
And we out, y'all. Later.
Thank you guys.